Smollett's legal team says that they plan to appeal his guilty verdict of lying to police about staging a hate crime in 2019. Smollett's defense lawyers, Nene, Uchiha, and Heather Weidel are here with me now. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And I know you've had a long number of weeks here.
Yeah, it's been really long.
It's been pretty long. Yeah, I'm glad you have a smile on your face as I say that to you. But this has been years since this incident happened, and now you've had your day in court. Can you tell us, Nene? I'll start with you. How does Jussie feel?
I mean, obviously, he's a human being. He's disappointed. Nobody wants to be found guilty of anything within the criminal justice system. He's disappointed, but he's also very confident. He's confident in the judicial system. He's confident that he'll be vindicated on appeal. And that's why we have appellate courts. Sometimes you don't win, but you win on appeal. And we believe strongly, of course, in his innocence, and we believe there are multiple bases for appeal, and we believe he's going to be vindicated.
Okay, you've got to talk to me about that. What are the multiple bases for appeal?
Oh, I don't want to go into too much legal strategy, but I would just say this, the transcripts are available throughout this case that's been going on for 3 years now. Just the basic one I will start off with is the fact that the prosecutor's office originally dismissed this case. Now, a lot of people can disagree as to why they did, but the reality is they dismissed the case and he was made to do community service and give up a $10,000 bond. He's not getting that $10,000 bond back, and he cannot undo the community service he did. Another prosecutor was appointed on behalf of the state to prosecute the same case the state had dismissed before. And really, it's an ancient principle, a deal's a deal. Regardless of how anyone feels about it, this prosecution shouldn't have even begun after that dismissal initially.
Heather, do you think that for putting Jussie on the stand, I think a lot of people wanted to hear from Jussie in his own words. Obviously, the two of you thought this would help his case. Why do you think that it didn't convince the jury?
I think the problems were twofold, Adrienne. I think to start, there's a misapprehension and a misconception that people have to prove their innocence rather than to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And so I think that there was a disadvantage from the start, particularly given the fact that Mr. Smollett was tried and convicted in the media and in the court of public opinion long before this trial ever started in court at 26th in California. So I think that we were at a tremendous disadvantage fighting an uphill battle to say that even if the prosecution did not prove their case, people were still waiting with bated breath and waiting for Mr. Smollett to prove his own innocence. And so I think that for him to have to do that, and despite the judge's admonishments that you're not to take Mr. Smollett's silence if he chooses not to speak against him in any way, I think that everybody was just waiting for him to speak. And when it maybe didn't reach their standards of what they were expecting, I think that they believed he didn't prove his innocence, and that's a huge fault, I believe, in what happened and what happens every day in the criminal justice system.
Well, it's interesting you brought up the media, and I know that Nene has brought up the media as well, but in the beginning, it seemed as though there was wide compassion. That this was at a time where there were a lot of people talking about the state of things in this country, and there were a lot of people who were saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened to you. Somewhere the belief in this situation, how it went down, changed in the public sphere. Don't you think so?
Honestly, no.
Was that question for me?
Well, either one of you can share. Nene, if you'd like to jump in, but I know that Heather seems to be chomping at the bit too.
Nene, go
I'll let
ahead.
Heather go first. Okay.
Ladies first.
Yes,
perfect.
Definitely.
I think no, it didn't change. I think that again there was almost 3 full years of different types of media attention telling everyone in different forums that this boy did this kid came into our city and did this to everybody. And the narrative was so pervasive that people who were unfamiliar with the case, which was almost everybody who wasn't fully connected to it in court, just had no opportunity to see what was really going on. So I think that, again, everybody not being able to see the true facts of the case and not being able to hear from Jussie himself, which again was his right, was disadvantageous to him. And nobody was able to really see what was going on. So I think even the supporters who came out recently saying, you know, oh, maybe this was too much, or hasn't this gone on long enough? I don't think even they really understood the full implications of what was going on, and the fact that he was being charged, we believe, illegally the second time when the special prosecutor was appointed.
Nene, what do you have to add here?
Well, I would say, you know, Jussie was very unfortunate. His case became almost like political football, and it took on a very political turn. And when that happens, it's really hard to get a fair trial. I'll give you one example. One of the things people were saying was Jussie said a white guy attacked him wearing a MAGA hat. Well, he actually never said that. It came out during the trial. He only said he saw pale skin behind a mask. And what was interesting is an independent witness corroborated this account, a security guard who happened to see two people running by him, one wearing a ski mask with pale skin. And so it just became a very political, it took on a very racial political dynamic. And that was really, really problematic for this case. But again, like I said, our appellate courts don't really play politics. You know, they get down to it, and I remain confident.
Okay, and again, he was found guilty of 5 out of 6 counts, convicted of a felony in this case. Really quickly, because we're running out of time here, in terms of an appeal, was Jussie framed?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I think in the best way I can answer this is, you know, the jury's verdict is inconsistent. You cannot say for the same incident we find him guilty for lying, but not guilty for lying about reporting the same thing he reported. And so, you know, that's what I would say. I respect the judiciary. I respect the jury system in this country that we have. But sometimes juries get it wrong, and that's our position.
All right. Nene Uchiha and Heather Weidel, defense lawyers for Jussie Smollett. Thank you both for being here on NewsNation.
So much, Adrienne.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.